welcome to this week's video. We're off eventing again tomorrow, and it's Rebs' turn. He was amazing at his first one at Offchurch, and this will be his first BE ever, which is exciting and a little nerve-wracking at the same time, because obviously I want it to go well, but you just can't predict these things, especially with babies. The babies. He's been very springy all week. Ever since Offchurch, to be honest, which is good, because I think you really enjoyed it, didn't you? You did. You enjoyed it. But it's been a bit exuberant all week, decking me once, but not because he was being naughty, but just because he was being excited, which I love, so I can't complain too much. Another early one, we are dressaging at 8:30, but it means we'll beat the flies, won't it? Because you don't like the flies. Abby doesn't like the flies. So let's get cracking. It's 3 o'clock on Thursday. No, hang on. Friday. We're on the Saturday. Goodness me. So yeah, Friday afternoon. I'm about to start bathing and cleaning and loading everything. It's also a bank holiday, which means I'm not working, which is amazing because it means that I've not got absolutely everything else to do at the same time. It's trying to get ready for an event. So, without further ado, let's get the young man scrub-a-dub-dubbed and start getting stuff prepped for tomorrow. Again, you've seen all this before on previous vlogs on how I do it all, so I'm probably not going to take you through all that, but try and get a bit more footage than usual tomorrow. Right, we are bathed. I've done the stud holes, prepared. We're snoozing. It's now late afternoon. I'm going to attempt to do the plaits. I'm going to get the plaits in. I've got my trusty plaiting stuff all ready to roll. I think he's going to be a good boy. He's quite snoozy. Yeah, snoozing. Yeah, snoozing. I'm not going to get up early and do them tomorrow morning, like I said, so let's get those in now. I thought I might talk you through what I'm going to do a little bit. Oh, what is this? What is this droopy lip? Someone is really snoozy. Yeah, I'll talk to you a little bit, talk you through a little bit of all the stuff I use and how I go about doing my plaits. I'm quite particular about how I plait, so I thought it might be interesting for you to show. It's not going to be like an in-depth tutorial or anything, but just talk you through the stages of how I go about doing my plaits. So first things first, I get all my bands on my hands. I usually do about 9 in his mane, in the big lad's manes. And so I have 10, so I have 1 on each finger, so that's 9 for the mane, 1 for the forelock. In showing world, you always should have an odd number of plaits up the neck, and then the forelock makes it an even number. So out of habit, I always have to make sure I have an odd number. I feel like it's unlucky if I have an even number. So, and it's basically so that the eye is drawn to a single plait in the middle of the mane. It creates a nice shape. So that's why, rather than having an even number that creates a split in the middle of the mane of the neck. If that makes any sense at all. So my first port of call is use the comb, and I measure out all of my plaits and band them into bunches to start with, just to make sure I can get it nice and even. So the next stage is I go through and I plait all of the mane. Now my latest technique, which seems to be the best to create the nicest plaits, is I use a plaiting wax like this Smart Grooming one, and I use that to smooth down the sides, the top and the underneath, and then I use a quick braid spray and this is the best and only one that I've ever found that does anything decent. All of the other brands just make them slippy. I use that on the very ends to get some sort of grip, to be able to make sure that I keep my plait really tight all the way down. I'll show you close up on how I do one, and then I'll pop it back at this angle and do the whole mane. So I've got my wax. Let me just push a bit more of him out. There we go. And obviously this is going to be hard to do one-handed, but I tend to do, oh, stop quivering, maybe, the top edge like that. And then I'll do the helps if I'm filming it, do the underside too, and then I do the sides each way, just to get a smooth finish. and that goes down here. And then I get my spray, and I just spray the very ends like that. And then that should give me a really neat hold when I plait this through. To film me do this today because I cannot, there's no way I can hold the camera and do a plait, but I thought I would talk you through how I do my plait, and we'll do a full tutorial at some point bless me, later. So this is what they look like when they are plaited, and we've got the, like I said, the wax in the base and then the spray in the ends that make it really grippy and crispy. And then what I tend to do is I do 3 backwards plait strokes. So I selfishly separate it into the 3 portions, do 3 backwards plait strokes, and then pull it down and then plait down for the last few. And that just creates this little lift here, which you'll see later allows me to roll the plait into a little hole that makes them sit up beautifully along the neck. So yeah, that is what I do. There we are, all plaited, ready to be rolled and sewn, and that is my next stage. I'll get my needle and thread out, and I will roll each plait into the mane and sew it in place. I detest using bands. I only do it occasionally and never on my own horses unless I just have no other choice, because I just don't like the way they look. I can't seem to find a way to do them where they look nice, so it's always a needle and thread for me. And yeah, that's the next stage, so I'll do that and I'll show you what they look like afterwards. Right, they are done. They are by no means my best plaits, and there's a few dodgy ones, a few soft ones that when you do them too soft, they end up going flat, because they haven't got enough tension to really hold the roll. And then yeah, this one I just don't quite know what went on with this one. It's just a bit crappy. But thankfully wearing a hood overnight should neaten them all up a little bit because it kind of squashes them down. But you see what I mean, you get that really nice raised effect where they sit up on top of the mane. For horses like him who are young and could do with a little bit more top line developing, which will happen over time, it just gives that illusion of them having a little bit more top line. Yeah, right, should we do your forelock? Yeah, he says I want to go to bed. Lastly, the forelock. This is my second attempt, because the first time he was being very naughty. He's gone back to sleep now, thank God. I always do a Dutch braid forelock. I just don't like the way French braided forelocks look. They look all puffy and I don't know, I just don't like them. So I always do, if I'm going to do a braid all the way down, then I do a Dutch braid so it sits on top of the forelock. And then with all my ends, even on my other plaits, I always wrap my ends round. This is not a very good example, but I never leave them dangly and wispy. I just don't like it. So the next stage for this is to fold it up. I tend to go in one and then in again, and then stitch that in place also. It's not bad. It's definitely not our best, but it's not bad considering we have no help and he's being a little irritating, aren't you? You're getting bored, aren't you? Yes, poor baby. Here we go, all done, folded in and stitched very nicely. You've woken up again now, aren't you? You're being irritating again. Oh, baby horses. Why do they always have to have something in their mouth? Stop it, Preppy! Stop destroying the place. So there you are, plaits all in. We'll see how smart they look tomorrow, because they always go a bit fluffy having been left in all night with a hood on. For now, we're relatively pleased, aren't we? Yes. Should we get you all dressed up in your PJs and then I can go home and get some dinner? Yes, I can. Right, see you in a sec. Right, so Rebel's all wrapped up and ready to roll. Just come into the lorry to make sure I've got everything I need. Need to clean my boots, reminder. So I thought while I'm in here, I'm just going to get my number sorted, ready for tomorrow, which is one of the great things about these amazing BibNets numbers, is you can prepare it all the night before, and if, like me, you have a printer that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but you don't want to fork out for a new printer, a set of these is much cheaper than a new printer. So I think they're just the bee's knees. I love them, and I've used them, I've supported them right from the beginning. I am now a brand ambassador, which is great, and I'll pop the discount code in the description if I remember. So without further ado, this was my number last time. Thankfully, my new number for tomorrow is very similar. It is just a 3 and a switch round. So I'm going to show you how easy this is. Look, I just go, I don't want you. I want you to switch places with you. This is really hard to do backwards. Da, 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 but even that, super easy. And then I need a 3, which will be, where have I put my 3s in? Ah, here we go. Here we are. Which way around does a 3 go? Is that the right way? It's hard to do it upside down. There we go. Ready to go. Super duper easy. Sorted. Ready. Done. How much quicker was that than printing something off? So yeah, absolutely super duper easy. And I think they are just so smart. And they are the smartest and most like your classic printed number bib on the market. I don't like the ones where you can see the separation, where you have like the different segments and you slot them in. I don't like those. I think they look messy and yeah, bulky. Whereas this, super smart, super slim, and then they fit really nicely into my number bib. And I've always had problems with getting the paper numbers to fit well in my number bib. It's one of the Shires ones, an older Shires one, and I think it's just a little bit small, which is nice because it means it's not massive. I hate big fluffy number bibs. But I've always struggled to get the actual paper numbers to go in neatly without crushing them. And this just slots in beautifully. Lightweight. There's nothing not to like about them. Yeah, fantastic. Put the other one in. There we go. Slot it in, velcroed up, ready to roll. Super duper easy. The other thing I like to do is do a spare to put in the front of your lorry, just in case they need to find you quickly for whatever reason. So let's get a few more bits out. What am I? 3, 5, 6 and 5. There we go, and another 6. There we are. This is my older number. They used to have the branding on the top, but it's now much more subtle, which is nice. And you can actually get them personalised with your name and things. Personally, I like them really smooth, really plain, really smart. I don't like having my name on stuff. I'm just not that kind of person. So yeah, really, really, really like this. This will go in the front of the lorry, ready for tomorrow. My number bib is all set to go, so ready to roll. Right, all done. That's the difference between getting ready for an event on a bank holiday and getting ready for an event on a work day. It is 7 o'clock right now, which beats 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is the usual when I'm trying to get ready on a Friday for an event on a Saturday. So that was a nice break. Well, break. It was a nice change. Break from tradition of being on Saturdays and having to get everything ready Friday night. So I can go home, relax for a bit, get a good night's sleep, get back up here for 5:30 in the morning to get him all ready to go to Norton Disney. Oh, so excited to get him out again. Look at the mist and the moon. Wow, what a funny little thing. Right, it is 5:20. I am nearly at the yard, just coming down our driveway now. Ready for a good day. Hi everybody. It's a bit dark in here, isn't it? Let's put some lights on. Oh, good morning. Hi, sweet boy. You want some early breakfast? Come on then. Ready to go, suited and booted. Lightning ever so slightly. Oh, exciting. Come on, sweetheart. Honey, yes. What a good boy. What a good boy. Food. Yeah. We're off. It's sunrise. It's so pretty. Right, we're going to attempt to walk the course, but can't really see anything. So let's hope we can see the fences when we get to them. So I forgot to film the last few. Here's the last fence. There was only two sort of simple fences between there and here, so hopefully we'll be alright. Walking the show jumping, it's all looking quite nice. 1, 2 are nice, 3 is then quite big, and then 5, the double, is quite big too. And then it's quite big from then, but hopefully we can have control and balance and we will jump a nice round, but that is a hope, not a given. Right, show jumping walked, cross country walked, quick pee stop, and then get ready. Right, time for me to get ready. Seem to be relatively on time so far, which is slightly unnerving. Normally we're quite late. So let's hope that that continues. I'm going shirt and tie and tweed again today. I like wearing my tweed for grassroots level stuff, and then I tend to go blue for novice and up, navy. So yeah, get this done up. There we go. Right, you don't need to see me get fully dressed, so I will see you shortly when I will be fully in gear. Tell you what, should we do a cool transition? Are we ready? I'm gonna be ready in 3, 4, 1. Ta-da! God, I'm sad. Anyway, I'm all ready. I'm gonna go get the pony ready, and then we'll get cracking. The dream team out in force today. Got Tabby with us. Dad's been on stud duty, so that's what Rebel thinks of it all. So yeah, well on time.
Right then, so on to dressage. Now, he was such an angel at Offchurch that I was not expecting the spiciness that we had in the working in. Lots of leaping about in the air and showing us all his acrobatics, which was not conducive to a relaxed test. However, in true Rebel style, he absolutely just about held it together in the whiteboards. He's not done many dressage tests, but he does just seem to know that once he gets down to the arena, he has to hold it together. Now, it is tense. He is not working correctly. You see here we have a trip, and that is because he is on the forehand running down into the bridle rather than being soft and light as I would like him to be. But when you are working with less than ideal relaxation, you're going to get bits like that, and you just have to kind of manage it. It was one of those tests that we just had to get from A to B and finish without any massive dramas. Now, you saw there the canter transition was a bit spicy, and the canter itself is rushed and unbalanced, but he does all the movements. He doesn't get it wrong. He continues to just do what I'm asking, given not with the right amount of perhaps what's the word? What is the word? Submission that I would like. But he is still doing it, even with a bit of resistance. Again, here you can see him just fighting the contact a little bit and running down onto the forehand. But it's not awful. I was pleased that we managed to hold it together, and I was actually quite pleased with the test in general, other than those several moments where we have the tension, especially in the transitions. These walk transitions are very on the forehand. You see him pulling down there in the walk. But like I said, he does everything correctly. When I say correctly, I mean we don't make any mistakes up to this point. And his general way of going isn't bad. Definitely tense, but it could be a whole lot worse. Another tail swish into the canter transition and some resistance to the contact. But it was definitely not as bad as it could have been, considering we had the acrobatics in the working in. I think we do have a little mistake as we come down this long side. I think we get a break a little bit early, in the downward transition. And then again, this walk transition here is awful. He spots something in the distance and goes, "Oh, what's over there?" Not ideal. Jogging in the walk as well, because he's a bit tense. But then stretches down well. He could have his nose out a little bit more. He's just gone down rather than stretch out. But it's his second test on grass, so I was not expecting it to be absolutely perfect, because he is definitely fresh today. You see the resistance to the contact just there. He spots the same thing over in the distance, and but yeah, it was a baby test, and they ought to be expected with him at this stage. But to be fair, the fact that he held it together was my win for the day. I took it, because it could have been a whole lot worse.
You're a good boy. You were a good boy. Just about held it together and did an all right test. No major mistakes, a few little bits, but to be fair, it's his second time on grass, so I'm very pleased. A little bit of a wait now for show jumping. I'm going to get on in about half an hour, I think, and then go do some jumpies.
Right then, on to show jumping. Right, again, we were absolutely mental in the working in. We were galloping towards the exit every time we came around the corner. Every fence we jumped, we just buggered off afterwards. So I was not expecting to be able to ride a particularly controlled round. But again, he just went in there and kind of went, "Oh, I know my job now, Mum, this is fine." He gave everything about 4 foot more than it actually needed, but spicy. I was actually really pleased with how he went. He jumped really consistently and was not looking or spooking at anything, and there was a lot for him to see in this ring. He actually helped me out a lot, like that fence there. We got way too close, and he just went, "It's all right, Mum, I can do it." I was terrified about this double because of how big it was, and just look at him. Whee! Tigger was out in full force today. We lost a little bit of balance and control on some of these sweeping turns, but we kept a good enough forward rhythm that he was able to make these distances easily and have a good amount of balance when we got to the fences. Coming back up the hill for the last line, and he helped me out big style at this last fence. I just cruise on down expecting him to just take a long one, and he goes, "That's not the distance, Mum," and puts in an extra stride for me. What a superstar.
show jumping was bouncing. Oh, my watch is going off. Excuse me. Stop. Clear. Yeah, in the working in, we were very sprightly. Had lots of wanting to just gallop back to the exit, which is not what you want. Jumping though, really, really good. And we went in there and he was just phenomenal. He helped me out several times where I missed on a stride and he just went, that's all right, Mum, I got it. I'll just put another stride in. Yeah, really, really tough with him. A little bit of a wait now before cross country. It's going to get all me ready and then head out there shortly. I don't think they've even started the cross country yet. I've just got Dad scraping the surface off my body protector from Rebels' exuberant outburst earlier in the week when he decked me then. Let's hope he doesn't deck me today. I'd rather stay on board. But it's a tough course. It's a difficult 90, so I'm hoping for a new combination. You know, for a baby horse, it's quite it's not a big ask, but it is quite big. And where he might back off, I don't want him to worry. So we're going to take it as it goes, and I'm just going to let him cruise around. I'm not going to take any naughtiness. Thank you, Dad. Perfect timing. Oh, you'd never have known, look, that I fell off. Yeah, we'll just see how he feels and how he goes, and be prepared for any little nappy moments.
Now, he worked in so confidently and calmly that I was really, really excited to get out on this course. And look how confidently we started out that start box. No napping, no nothing. In fact, he actually comes in here and takes a stride out when I was expecting him to chip in. He felt like an absolute pro over these first few fences. He was just taking everything on, cruising down in a lovely rhythm, just bounding on over everything, making it feel easy. And I think that was the problem. It lulled me into a false sense of security, thinking, how amazing is my baby horse feeling? And I took my foot off the pedal a little bit in terms of connection, and let him take control and get too onwards and open rather than connected. Here you see it from a slightly different angle as starting and coming over the first few. He was just cruising. He felt absolutely brilliant, considering we had such a sticky start at Offchurch. I mean, we got going, but he was definitely thinking backwards the whole way, the first few at Offchurch, whereas today, I had none of that. He was he knew what he was doing. He was cruising along and made all these fences feel easy, especially this combination that's coming up right now. So yeah, he was just feeling absolutely phenomenal, and I was just letting him cruise along at a nice, easy pace like I would do Barry. But baby horses are always levelers. Here we go. Here you see him cruise through there absolutely superbly. And I was just expecting him to cruise around the whole course like that. Pinging over fence 7, we gallop on down towards the water. And here I see he opens up a fraction too much, and then, boom, whoa, I'm eating the dirt. Slightly different angle, this time in portrait. You see him go through that again really smartly, and then he pops fence 7, and then I think the problem is I try to go between several fences to get to the water, and he just had a big old spook that I was not prepared for. And I mean, it's my riding, to be honest, but he just stops dead and shoots left. And I just stand no chance. Let's see it again in slow-mo, shall we? It was the speed we were travelling that was the problem, and the abruptness with which you see him there plant those front feet, and it completely made me lose my balance, and then immediately shooting left. There was no way I could have sat it. I should have been in a much slower, bouncier canter, much more up and behind him, ready for anything like that. It's just one of those things, here we are from the other angle again, that I will now learn from and take forward. I cannot allow him to get away from me in any way, shape or form. He just got way too open, and as soon as you allow him to get in control, you risk an issue where he takes control completely and says, no, I don't want to do that, actually, don't want to go that way. I think if I'd have pointed him at any of the actual fences, he'd have been fine, but it was the fact we tried to go between several fences, like you see on that angle there. That was the problem. He was like, there's too much going on, Mum, I can't go through there.
So that wasn't quite the finish we were after. Yeah, not the best way to end the day. However, you may think I'm crazy. I'm so proud of him and so thrilled with how he felt today. It was a blip. Is more my riding than his fault. I presented him at a gap, but there was a lot going on before the water, and I'd picked my line. I'd picked my line based on how I would ride it on an experienced horse. He had to go between several things. There was a lot going on, lots to look at, and he came up to all the stuff and just went, no thanks, slammed the brakes on, as you'll have seen, and shot left. I was not prepared for it at all. I probably should have been. So yeah, that's what happened. I do think that if I'd have actually presented him at a fence, say like the 100 fence, that if we were jumping that, I think he'd have been fine, because he understands now that I present him at a fence, he jumps the fence. It was more, he got really confused about what I was asking him to do by going between several fences. He's not seen stuff like that before, really. You don't, do you, till you go out competing. And yeah, and the other thing was he gave me such a fantastic feeling over the first half that I just got a bit complacent again, like I did when he had the problem last time. Well, it wasn't even a problem. When he had his little spin last time, he jumped the first 2 fences beautifully, and then I didn't react quick enough when between fences 3 and 4 he had his moment. Same here, he jumped the first 7 fences fantastically. Really, really good. He gives such a great feeling that I then was not ready for him to make that mistake. I was not prepared, and I should have been, because he's a 5-year-old and he's never done anything like this before. It's his second time. So yeah, that was my fault, and it's something I need to be better at. But you know, it's the first time I've had such a talented young horse and such a expressive young horse, so I'm ready now. Touch wood. Hopefully I'm ready for when he does it again, if he does do it again. And I just need to remember to ride with this, and when we're coming up to things that are scary or spooky or he's not seen before, that I bring him back to trot and make it clear to him exactly where he's going and what he's doing, because it's that confusion that upsets him, and his go-to when he gets confused is to just say no. And I need to teach him that he doesn't need to get confused, he needs to just read the situation. I need to give him time to read the situation. That's what I didn't do today. Didn't give him time to understand what I was asking him to do. But I'm staying positive, because he just jumped so beautifully in the show jumping, and he just flew around the first half of that course, straight out the start box. Phenomenal over the first 2, over the first everything. I mean, first combination he did beautifully. Really, really pleased with him, and we are going to do better. 2 weeks till our next one, so bit of time to practice. I need to get out to probably Barracliff or some big cross-country venue to just ride him through stuff and present him at fences that aren't clear, and really teach him that he has to use his brain and figure out where he's going and what he's doing for himself a little bit, and to trust me when I'm telling him to go somewhere. But I am so pleased, and I am not gonna get myself dragged into a negative headspace thinking, oh, it should be better. He's 5, it's his first time. It's my first time, like I said, with a really talented youngster, and it's going to take a little bit of time for us to figure it out. If he has me off over the next 10 events, I don't care, because it's about the future with him, and it's about building him up ready for big things, which I think are to come. Really, really excited about him. I think he is going to be something super special. And I think you'll find most of the super special horses were not easy youngsters. So yeah, not the best end. So, some good footage though, some good video. So I hope Hope you got a good laugh out of my face plant. And I've got a lot of mud to clean off. I've got a very muddy bottom. Oh dear. And the expensive joppers are nicely grass stained. Oops. So yeah, I best go clean some stuff and prepare for the next one. Prepare. I need to practice. I'm also going to start going back to the gym because, like I said before, since my back, I've not actually been to the gym for a long time. So I need to get stronger and quicker reactions. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you are as excited about him as I am, in spite of the falling off. Shit happens, you know. We learn, we grow, we move. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one where we will have a better day.